Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, Star Trek may be saved. Well, not just Star Trek. It might be Nickelodeon. It might be everything over there at Paramount, ladies and gentlemen, because after a, $10 a share current stock price over there at Paramount, things are looking very grim, looking very dark over there. We know Sherry Redstone's doing her best to try to get out of it. They have had a couple of different places that have come in, a couple of different folks that have come in and kind of looked around and had some arguments and had some discussions and had some all of that kind of stuff going on. And then, of course, those have fallen flat. Well, boys and girls, we've got another one out there that's coming in and kicking the tires and checking things out and thinking about whether or not he wants to buy Paramount. And there's some NDAs out there that have already been signed. And Barry Diller is a name that probably a lot of us don't know. It's a guy that hasn't been around Paramount since literally the 70s and 80s at the age of its height and when its major growth was going on out there, when it was one of the dominant forces in all of the movies, a lot of the movies you watched back in those eras. And some of those you might have gone back and watched if you're too young to have been around those eras. I know I'm too young around for a couple of those decades, which is obviously one of the reasons why I don't know the name of Barry Diller. But considering his track record, ladies and gentlemen, he just might be the person to turn around a company like Paramount, who has one of the largest IP holdings out there with some of the greatest stuff out there, including Star Trek and all of the children's networks, including all the stuff over at Nickelodeon. There's a lot of great IPs that need some good, steady hands that can turn things around and potentially right this ship. And ladies and gentlemen, Barry Diller might just be the person to do that. So as you can see over here from this article from Deadline, Barry Diller is kicking the tires on the Paramount bid. So this is a very interesting statement. So we've also got some background history on Barry Diller as well. So what kind of stuff he's done and why I think this might potentially be a very good thing for Paramount, Star Trek, and all of the rest of the IPs that they hold first. Obviously, we've seen some of the stuff that's going on with Teenage Mutant Turtles as of late. Boy, wouldn't it be something nice to get some good quality stuff back there again. So we're going to share this article from Deadline.com, getting all of the juicy details, and see if maybe Barry Diller might actually be the savior Paramount needs. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, smash that like button, share with all your friends, subscribe and or follow if you have not already, depending on what platform you are on. And leave us a comment down below on whether or not you think our evidence holds any kind of muster to whether or not Barry Diller might just be the solution that Paramount needs. So, without further ado, Barry Diller by Eric Peterson over here at Deadline. So, media mogul Barry Diller is exploring a bid for Paramount. The New York Times reports the Hollywood potentate turned digital media pioneers, IAC Corp., has inked non-disclosure deals with Sherry Redstone's National Amusements, Inc., the company's controlling stakeholder, the paper said. The Times said the status of Diller Paramount talk is unclear. A Paramount rep declined to comment when contacted by Deadline, and a rep for NAI did not immediately respond to request for comment, which of course is what's going to happen. They're not going to give you any answers, not going to reply to your comments because negotiations are ongoing. The NDAs have been signed. Everybody keeps their mouth shut because you don't want any kind of political sway. You don't want any kind of like public sway one way or the other as far as people like going out there and going, oh my God, this is horrible. You don't want any kind of bad pressure. You don't want kind of PR. You don't want kind of outside pressure coming in from the conversations you're having on the inside. It's basic business tactics. It's basic common sense, truth be told, when it comes to all of this kind of stuff. So that's completely understandable. You want to spoil the kind of stuff. So, but here's the question. Why would Barry Diller be interested in Paramount? Why would he's this mogul out there of this digital media pioneer? Why would he be out there trying to get into this? Well, that's because he's got a little bit of history, ladies and gentlemen, with Paramount. Barry Diller, the guy who once ran Paramount Pictures back in the 70s and 80s and founded the Fox and USA Networks, is exploring a bid to buy Paramount Global through his company IAC. National Amusements has also signed NDAs with IAC. So there's your answer for that one, boys and girls. He had once ran Paramount Pictures back in the day, and he also founded Fox and USA Networks, both which have produced a lot of great quality programming and entertainment over the years. USA Network, we thought about like Babylon 5, there's been Burn Notice, and whether or not he was still in charge of things at that time, it doesn't matter. The founding of something like that, the influences always go all the way down to the end and the final fruits that this tree does produce, and he is the root of those companies, and we have gotten some very delicious fruits out of USA and Fox as well. So this could be very interesting. So what's going forward? So the guy's got a solid track record of things. If nothing else, he's absolutely a good businessman. And whether or not he's a creative of any kind whatsoever, at least he's smart enough to know who to put in charge of some of these things to make them flourish and become excellent properties. So this is one of the other things. This is a little bit of his background. This is why it sounds like he is absolutely trying to go in there and try to turn things around at the company, which, as we know, turning around generally ends up cleaning a house with a lot of the crazy people out there that have caused a lot of problems. I wonder if Kurtzman should be worried at all. me thinks there might be a possibility there. Lord help us, Lord please. So this is what Diller had to say in terms of timing for his potential deal. He said, first off, it's the worst time in the world to sell this thing. I mean, it couldn't be. I mean, it's the perfect candidate for actually turning itself around. But the idea that you ought to sell it because whoever gets in at it, whatever base they get in it for, there's an enormous amount of work that's going to have to take place. So this is what he said back in April of 2024. So literally not that long ago. So either apparently the price on the stock has gotten cheap enough, or he thinks maybe, you know what, I can handle all the heavy lifting. I am the man to go in there and turn this kind of thing around. Now, that also could just be his preliminary going in and looking at the numbers and seeing what he's got out there for it. I don't know on that kind of thing. That's one of the interesting things about this. He could just be going in there, trying to get open to the books, trying to look at the numbers and go, you know what, maybe this is something that's worth saving. Maybe it's something that we can't. We don't know. Or at the end of the day, it could actually end up being him going in the books, looking at their thing, going, holy cow, this is an absolute abomination. There's no way I can save this. And clearly this is why everybody else has walked out of the deal. We don't know. We'll probably never fully know, but it would be very curious to see how all of this ends up going forward with all of this. Now, here's one of the things that I thought he found very interesting. So this is something else that they brought up. This is from 1992. Diller calls it quit at Fox. Murdoch denies budget battles, say he'll control the studio for him indefinitely. So power surge likely for Roth at Fox's filming. So this is one of the things that makes me, it sounds like Murdoch pushed Dillard out. Now, Murdoch was trying to say that it's an amicable, that everything went fine, that it was no big deal as far as the way Diller left. Me personally, knowing Rupert Murdoch and the things we kind of know about his history in the modern era, well, it would not surprise me whatsoever if this was an absolute power grab by Murdoch and Diller was like, you know what, I'm not going to put up with it. Have Fox. I'm out of here. I got other things I got to go do. I got other things I can go build. I got other ways to make billions of dollars out there. And clearly he has. So once again, this is a guy who's got a pretty good track record on this kind of stuff. I would like to see what he could do with this company going forward. It would be very, very interesting to see. So the article continues a little bit. Diller, who became head of Paramount Pictures half a century ago at just 32 and once was outbid for the company by Summer Redstone, Sherry's father, is looking to take control of the company, which reportedly was close to a deal with David Ellis and Skydance before the talks fell apart 3 weeks ago. So now it sounds like, now that that's fallen apart, it looks like, hey, I'm the man with the plan here. I can come in, scoop this up, and solve your problem, Sherry Redstone. Your father beat me last time, but guess what? Now you have clearly failed miserably following in your father's footsteps. So guess what? Now it's time for daddy to come home, clean house, and fix the problems. And let's see if he actually can or not. So Diller's interest in the latest chapter of the ongoing Paramount sales saga, which has seen senior studios like Edmund Sony, investor Saul Paulman, Skydance, Apollo Group, everything's falling apart, right? Amid all of the deals, shares with the companies have fallen under $10. Once again, this might be another reason why he's like, you know what? At that kind of bargain bin price, just the IPs alone are worth me coming in there and buying this thing just for that. But it sounds like he does want to go in there and clean house. So since then, 3 top Paramount execs, George Cheeks, Chris McCarthy, and Brian Robbins, have stepped in to run Paramount Global as co-CEOs. This was after the last CEO, Bob Bakish, was ousted in April because they literally were trying to get rid of him for an unorthodox office of CEO. It was kind of wild. It was kind of crazy. Now they've got 3 people over there running the company. So 2 weeks before the town hall, the chief execs admitted that the past several months have not been easy, but told staffers that they've been a strategic plan that they are confident will set the stage for growth for Paramount. Of course, that's what you have to tell your employees so they don't all freak out, panic, and run for the hills as fast as they can. Diller, 82, is a former Fox, Paramount, and Universal boss, also Universal, another very good sign, who has been more focused on his interactive core and other digital ventures during the past 20 plus years. So this guy has got the experience. He comes from good stock. He formerly ran Paramount. He founder of USA Networks, founder of Fox Network. He formerly was a boss over at Universal. Like, these are all good signs. These are the kind of things you want to see. Now, we have no idea if this deal is going to go anywhere as of right now, but on the off chance that it does end up going through, that things actually do end up working out, you can know that you heard it first here, that Barry Diller might actually be the best thing in the world to come in and turn Paramount around, to turn Nickelodeon around, to turn our Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles around, to turn around our Star Trek. Now, boys and girls, wouldn't that be a beautiful thing? So I don't know if it's going to happen. I have no idea at this point. It's only a matter of time before we find out. We will definitely keep an eye on this kind of thing, seeing how these talks go forward, see if this ends up panning out, and see if Sherry Redstone will finally let go of her father's legacy that she has absolutely devastated and destroyed by all of her ridiculous nonsense. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not saying Barry Diller will be the savior of Paramount, but he sure as hell's got a whole hell of a lot of better track record and pedigree than anyone else that's tried so far. God help us all, and God bless the Star Trek fans out there.